In the 1980s, hockey was more than just a game. It was magic on ice, and two magicians emerged to captivate audiences like never before. Wayne Gretzky and Mario Lemieux. Two names that would become forever linked in the story of hockey. Their rivalry wasn't just about winning games. It was about pushing the limits of what seemed possible on ice. The 1980s brought us many things: colorful fashion, unforgettable music, and a style of hockey that was fast, high-scoring, and incredibly exciting. But above all, it gave us two players who would change the sport forever. Before Gretzky and Lemieux, hockey was going through big changes. The NHL had just merged with the WHA, creating new opportunities and challenges. Teams were scoring more than ever, and fans couldn't get enough of the action. It was the perfect stage for two young stars to make their mark. In Brantford, Ontario, a young Wayne Gretzky was learning the game in the simplest way possible, on a backyard rink built by his father, Walter. They called it the Wally Coliseum, though it was nothing more than a frozen patch of ground where a father's dream met a son's natural talent. Every winter, Walter would flood the backyard, creating the perfect training ground for young Wayne. Walter Gretzky wasn't just a father. He was Wayne's first and most important coach. He taught Wayne to skate to where the puck is going, not where it's been. Advice that would become famous throughout the hockey world. Wayne would spend countless hours on that backyard rink, developing the skills and vision that would later earn him the nickname, the Great One. Meanwhile, in a different part of Canada, Mario Lemieux was growing up in a working-class neighborhood in Montreal. Unlike Wayne's structured training, Mario's early hockey education came from the streets and local rinks of Montreal. He would often play with older kids, forcing him to develop his skills quickly just to keep up. Mario's natural talent was obvious from the start. In the Quebec Major Junior Hockey League, he did things that seemed impossible for a player his size. At 6 feet 4 inches, he moved with the grace of a much smaller player, but used his size to protect the puck in ways that had never been seen before. Gretzky's path to the NHL was unusual. He first joined the Indianapolis Racers of the WHA as a skinny 17-year-old. When that team faced money problems, he was sold to the Edmonton Oilers. When the WHA merged with the NHL in 1979, Gretzky went with the Oilers, and hockey would never be the same. Mario's entry was more traditional, but just as dramatic. In 1984, the Pittsburgh Penguins were struggling both on and off the ice. They needed a savior, and in Mario Lemieux, they got one. On draft day, Mario refused to wear the Penguins jersey until his name was called, a small act of defiance that showed the confidence he would bring to the NHL. When they first arrived in the NHL, both players faced doubters. Some said Gretzky was too small and slow. Others thought Lemieux was too tall to have the agility needed for NHL success. Both proved their critics wrong in spectacular fashion. Gretzky's teammates quickly realized they were playing with someone special. His ability to see plays develop before anyone else made everyone around him better. In Pittsburgh, Lemieux's new teammates were amazed by how someone so big could be so skilled with the puck. The hockey world soon realized these weren't just good players. They were changing how the game was played. Gretzky's office behind the net and Lemieux's ability to score while fighting off defenders became things young players everywhere tried to copy. Their early years in the NHL showed that something special was happening. Two unique talents, taking different paths to greatness, were about to create a rivalry that would help make hockey more popular than ever. But what made their rivalry special wasn't just their different playing styles. It was how they pushed each other to be better, creating moments that fans would never forget. As the 1980s moved forward, hockey fans witnessed something extraordinary. Two players, different in style but equal in brilliance, began breaking records that many thought would stand forever. This wasn't just about scoring goals anymore. It was about redefining what was possible in hockey. Wayne Gretzky's numbers seemed like they came from a video game. In 1982, he scored 92 goals in a single season, a record that still stands today. But it wasn't just the goals. Gretzky passed the puck like he could see into the future, setting up his teammates for easy scores. In 1986, he finished with an incredible 215 points in a single season. Meanwhile, in Pittsburgh, Mario Lemieux was writing his own story. He scored goals in ways that made people shake their heads in disbelief. In December 1988, he did something amazing. He scored 5 goals in 5 different ways in one game. Even strength on the power play, shorthanded on a penalty shot, and into an empty net. Nobody had ever done that before, and nobody has done it since. Watching Gretzky and Lemieux was like seeing two different versions of perfect hockey. Gretzky was like a chess master on skates. He wasn't the fastest or strongest player, but he always seemed to be in the right place. He made passes that other players wouldn't even think of trying. His teammates learned to always keep their sticks on the ice because the puck might arrive at any moment. Lemieux was more like a force of nature. At 6 feet 4 inches, he could protect the puck with his long reach, but he also had the soft hands of a much smaller player. He could score from anywhere on the ice, and defenders often looked helpless trying to stop him. While Gretzky would avoid hits with his smarts, Lemieux would simply power through them. Team impact. In Edmonton, Gretzky turned the Oilers into a scoring machine. With teammates like Mark Messier, Jari Kurri, and Paul Coffey, they played some of the most exciting hockey ever seen. The Oilers became the team everyone wanted to watch. The Penguins' story was different. When Lemieux arrived, they were struggling just to make the playoffs. But he single-handedly made them better, turning unknown players into stars just by passing them the puck. He carried the team on his back, making Pittsburgh a hockey town again. When these two met on the ice, everyone watched. Their games weren't just games, they were events. While they were rivals, there was always respect between them. They played different styles but recognized the genius in each other's approach. The best example of their combined magic came in the 1987 Canada Cup when they played on the same team. Gretzky and Lemieux together was like watching a hockey dream come true. In the final minutes of the deciding game against the Soviet Union, they created one of hockey's most famous goals, Lemieux scoring off a perfect Gretzky pass to win the tournament. The growing legend. As the 1980s went on, both players kept pushing each other to greater heights. If Gretzky had a 6-point night, Lemieux would answer with a 7-point game the next week. They weren't just playing hockey. They were taking the sport to places it had never been before. Their rivalry wasn't bitter or angry. It was two artists working in different styles, each making the other better. Together, they showed that hockey could be more than just a physical game. It could be beautiful, creative, and surprising in ways that no one had imagined before. As the 1990s began, both Gretzky and Lemieux faced challenges that would test them in ways no defender ever could. Their stories became about more than just hockey. They became tales of perseverance, courage, and transformation. In 1988, the hockey world stood still when Wayne Gretzky was traded to the Los Angeles Kings. The trade was so big that it made people cry in Edmonton. They called it the trade of the century. Wayne had just gotten married, and on his wedding day, he found out he might be traded. Even the Canadian government tried to stop it from happening. But Gretzky's move to Los Angeles changed hockey forever. Suddenly, kids in California wanted to play hockey. The sport was growing in places where ice was something you put in drinks, not something you skated on. Wayne didn't just bring his scoring touch to LA. He brought hockey to the American Sunbelt. While Gretzky was changing hockey in California, Mario Lemieux was fighting a battle much bigger than hockey. In 1993, at the peak of his career, Mario was diagnosed with Hodgkin's lymphoma, a type of cancer. He was leading the league in scoring when he had to stop playing to get treatment. What happened next became one of sport's most inspiring stories. The same day he finished his last radiation treatment, Mario flew to Philadelphia to play hockey. He was tired and weak, but he still scored a goal and added an assist. The Philadelphia fans, known for being tough on opposing players, gave him a standing ovation. Saving the Penguins, Mario's challenges weren't over. He had severe back problems that forced him to miss many games. But his biggest save came off the ice. When the Penguins were about to go bankrupt in 1999, Mario stepped in. He turned the money the team owed him into ownership of the club. He became the first former player to own his team, saving hockey in Pittsburgh. The numbers game, despite all their challenges, their numbers tell an amazing story. Gretzky's records seem unbreakable. 894 goals, 1,963 assists, and 2,857 total points. When he retired, he held 61 NHL records. Many people wonder if anyone will ever break them. Lemieux's numbers are just as impressive in their own way. He scored 690 goals and 1,033 assists in just 915 games. Many hockey experts say that if he had stayed healthy, he might have challenged some of Gretzky's records. He averaged an incredible 1.88 points per game through his career. But both men's legacies go far beyond statistics. Gretzky proved that hockey could succeed anywhere if you had the right star to lead the way. He became hockey's greatest ambassador, growing the game in new markets. Lemieux showed that true greatness isn't just about talent. It's about courage and determination. He came back from cancer, retired, then came back again in 2000 to play with rookie Mario Crosby. He didn't just play hockey. He gave hope to others facing similar challenges. The game changes. As hockey moved into the late 1990s, the game began to change. Teams focused more on defense, making it harder to score. The wild, high-scoring games of the 1980s became rare. But the impact of Gretzky and Lemieux remained. Every creative pass, every skilled play carried a bit of their influence. Today's NHL looks very different from the league where Gretzky and Lemieux first made their names. The equipment is better, the players are faster, and the game has evolved. But everywhere you look, you can see traces of what these two legends brought to hockey. Young players today still study videos of Gretzky's perfect passes and Lemieux's amazing goals. Stars like Connor McDavid and Sidney Crosby grew up wanting to combine Gretzky's vision with Lemieux's skill. The way they protect the puck, the way they see the ice, it all goes back to what Wayne and Mario taught us was possible. When today's players make a pass from behind the net, commentators still call it Gretzky's office. When a tall player shows incredible skill, they say, "That's Lemieux-like." These aren't just comparisons, they're tributes to how these two changed hockey forever. What many people don't know is that Gretzky and Lemieux became good friends over the years. They weren't just rivals. They were two people who understood something few others could, what it was like to be that good at hockey, to carry that much pressure and responsibility. After they retired, they worked together to help hockey grow. When Lemieux bought the Penguins, one of the first calls he got was from Wayne, offering advice and support. When Gretzky coached and worked in hockey management, Mario was always there to talk things through. Teaching the next generation, both men have stayed involved in hockey, passing on their knowledge to new players. Gretzky's famous quote about skating to where the puck is going, not where it's been, is now used to teach everything from hockey to business. Lemieux's Penguins have won multiple championships, with him showing young players what it means to be a professional both on and off the ice. When people talk about hockey records today, they usually start with Gretzky's numbers. His 894 goals, his 2,857 points. These numbers have become part of hockey history. The fact that he got more assists than any other player has total points tells you all you need to know about his style of play. Lemieux's numbers tell a different but equally impressive story. His 690 goals in just 915 games show what might have been if health had been on his side. He averaged almost 2 points every game throughout his career, a rate that even Gretzky couldn't match. Beyond the game, but their real impact goes beyond hockey. Gretzky showed that hockey could succeed in places like Los Angeles, helping the NHL grow into new markets. Today, we have successful teams in Las Vegas and Florida because Wayne proved hockey could work anywhere. Lemieux's impact on cancer research and patient support has been just as important as his hockey achievements. The Mario Lemieux Foundation has raised millions of dollars to help others facing the same challenges he overcame. Some people still debate who was better, Gretzky or Lemieux. But that misses the point. Together, they pushed each other to be greater than they might have been alone. They showed us that hockey could be more than just a physical game. It could be an art form. The rivalry between Wayne Gretzky and Mario Lemieux defined an era, but their impact defines the game itself. In the end, hockey fans weren't just lucky to see one of them play. They were lucky to see them both, to witness their rivalry, and to see how competition can bring out the best in everyone. When we watch hockey today, we're still watching the game they helped create. Every no-look pass, every skilled play by a big center, every California kid who grows up loving hockey, it all traces back to the magic these two men created on ice. They weren't just great hockey players, they were hockey's greatest teachers, showing us what the game could be.